A very wonderful day to you all, and I want to welcome you to this entrepreneurship training being offered by Airport Ministries Training. And without me wasting any much time, my name is Simbarashe Gravel. I'm going to be your facilitator for this training, and hopefully you are going to enjoy and get to understand what entrepreneurship is all about. Thank you so much for making the time to attend. Let's get right into it. So, who is an entrepreneur? Who is an entrepreneur? We would want to break down this amazing human being called an entrepreneur. The term entrepreneur actually comes from a French word, entreprendre. Entreprendre. Quite an interesting word. And it comes with a lot of meaning, a lot of value. So it can mean someone who produces a product. It can mean someone who sells, market the product. It can mean someone who bears overheads. For example, someone who pays rent of land and building. Someone who pays wages to labor. Someone who will pay interest on capital. And someone who will later generate profit from all these activities. So it can be one or a combination of all these ideas that bring us to a definition of what is called an entrepreneur. Okay? But I'm going to give us a working definition of what is an entrepreneur. So an entrepreneur is a person who combines various factors of production, processing raw materials, converting the raw material into a finished product, and creates utility and sells the produce in the market to earn a profit. Okay. So we would love, I think out of this whole training, I would want you to get that entrepreneurs are made and not necessarily born. Okay. They are made and not necessarily born. So what do we mean by they are made? Okay. We will get into a bit more depth just now. So basically an entrepreneur is someone who bears uncertainty. Okay, they bear uncertainty. And an entrepreneur is someone who is an organizer, right? So again, an innovator, a change agent, a creator of a new system, a risk taker. Okay, all these words feed into who an entrepreneur is. Now, just at the basis, as we go deeper, I just want you to understand that when we say an entrepreneur is made, right, and not born, all these characteristics are not things you get born with, okay? They are skills that you develop, okay? So they are made. You become, you grow your mind, you mature your mind to be able to bear uncertainty. Okay, you learn to organize, you learn to innovate, you learn to bring about change. Okay, you learn how to create new systems. Excuse me. You learn how to take risks. Okay, you learn all these things are things that you can learn and make yourself, even if you were born without them. Okay, so entrepreneurs participate in what we call an enterprise, which is entrepreneurial activity, especially when accompanied by initiative and resourcefulness. So initiative is a very important word for entrepreneurs, because initiative is about starting, right? Initiative is about putting yourself out there, learning something, okay? And the first thing actually for an entrepreneur is someone who's willing to learn, okay? So you initiate a learning curve that then guides you into resourcefulness, which then helps you to participate in enterprise. Okay. So let's look at quickly entrepreneurship. Okay. It may be defined in various ways, but the four key elements involved in entrepreneurship will be innovation, risk taking, vision, and organizing skill. Okay. So the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a business venture along with any of its risks in order to make a profit, right? That is what we call entrepreneurship. It's the capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a business venture along with any of its risks in order to make a profit. So the most obvious example of entrepreneurship is the starting of new businesses, right? So when people start new businesses, they are showing a capacity and willingness to develop, organize, and manage a venture, right? So they will innovate, creating a venture. They will take a risk by investing some money, some time, some resources, right? Obviously, they need a vision. You need to see it before it happens, okay? And then you need to organize the skills to make sure the venture takes off and builds into something meaningful. Okay. Now, part of this presentation, as you are watching, many of you will find themselves in one of these four categories. Okay. In one of these four categories, doers are the type of entrepreneurs who achieve things. Okay. These are the types of entrepreneurs who don't wait, they start. They start. They launch into their dream. Once they have an idea, once they have a concept, once they smell an opportunity, they do something about it. And these people in general achieve a lot, right? And then you've got your dreamers. Your dreamers are people who are doing something. So they may have a job elsewhere, but what they're doing is not their dream project. Okay, so there are people who have jobs elsewhere, who do other things, and when you talk to them, they will tell you a lot of dreams. I wish I could start my own restaurant. I wish I could start a shop. I wish I could invest in farming. I wish I could, but they're at work. They're trapped in their jobs. They're doing something, but it's not their dream project. Okay, and then there are people we call dawdlers, right? Your dawdlers are the people who are undecided. Okay, they can't decide whether they will start or whether they won't. Okay. Excuse me. And then you've got your dads, right, who have abandoned their ideas of being an entrepreneur. These are people who may have started and failed for whatever reason, right? We call them dads. They then abandon their ideas of becoming an entrepreneur. Okay. So what we're saying, guys, is really entrepreneurship is something that you learn. It's something that you grow. Okay. It's something that you become. You can be a bad entrepreneur and you can be a good entrepreneur. Okay. And most of us obviously start off as bad entrepreneurs. Why? Because we haven't gotten the knowledge. We haven't gotten the information. We're still young. But as you grow in your entrepreneurship journey, you will begin to gather or build certain characteristics, okay? The kinds of things that we say make up entrepreneurs, okay? Or the kinds of things that we say make up successful entrepreneurs, okay? So if you're going to be an entrepreneur and become successful at it, you're going to have to gain or grow these characteristics, okay? So being an entrepreneur requires specific characteristics and skills that are often achieved through education, hard work, and planning, which is why, again, we say an entrepreneur is made, not born, okay? So risk taking, right? One of the characteristics. So businesses face risk. Entrepreneurs minimize risk through research, planning, and skill development. So you learn, okay, guys? You grow as a risk taker. You understand which risks to take. You understand which things to undertake and which things not to undertake, okay? Entrepreneurs are perceptive. So entrepreneurs view problems as opportunities and challenges, okay? You view problems, things that other people call problems, situations that other people call problems, you call them opportunities and you call them challenges that can be overcome, right? And then curiosity. Entrepreneurs have an interesting curiosity. They're always curious. Entrepreneurs like to understand or know how things work, okay? They invest time and in initiative to pursue the unknown. Okay, so this is what it takes to be an entrepreneur. Now, this curiosity is something you can develop in yourself. Okay, it's something you can develop in yourself. More characteristics. Entrepreneurs are imaginative. Okay, as an entrepreneur, you must be imaginative. You need to become creative. They imagine solutions to problems that encourage them to create new products and generate ideas. Okay? That's imaginative. And then entrepreneurs are persistent. Right? So true entrepreneurs will face bureaucracy, make mistakes, receive criticism, and deal with money and family or stress problems. But they will stick to their dreams of seeing the venture succeed. They do not give up. So this spirit of not giving up is also a spirit you can learn. It's also a spirit you can learn. This persistence. Okay? Goal setting. Again, another skill that you can learn. Entrepreneurs are motivated by the exercise of starting a new business. Once achieved, they move on to new goals or ventures to try, or they will find new goals or ventures to try. So goal setting is a very important aspect that you can also learn as someone who may not be used to goal setting. So what is a goal? For example, you can say tomorrow morning, when I wake up, my goal is to make my bed. You know, there are people who actually say, if you make your bed, people who make their beds are more successful than people who don't. Why? Because making your bed, it's a win. It's a success. It's a goal set that has been achieved. So if you plan and say, I'm going to make my bed every day when I wake up, that's goal setting. If you are successful at that, then you are going to learn to set other goals and also achieve them. Why? Because you are learning the art of setting goals and achieving them. Okay, this is also how you deal with procrastination. A lot of times people will say, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow, I'll do it tomorrow. Right? Set goals. Love winning. love achieving your goals. This love can be generated, it can be grown. Okay, that's goal setting, guys. And then you've got self-confidence. Okay, entrepreneurs believe in themselves. Their self-confidence takes care of any doubts that they may have. Okay, again, self-confidence is something you can grow. An understanding of the scriptures can help you understand who you are in Christ, and if you were someone before who was not self-confident, in Christ you gain confidence. Okay, in Christ you gain confidence. You understand what God has done for you. You understand what God has put inside you. You build self-confidence through studying the scriptures and understand what Christ did for you. And then entrepreneurs are flexible. So entrepreneurs must be flexible in order to adapt to changing trends, markets, technologies, rules, and economic environments. And again, flexibility is something you can learn. Okay, it's something you can grow, and you should grow if you are planning to be a successful entrepreneur. Right? Now, entrepreneurs are independent. So an entrepreneur's desire for control and the ability to make decisions often makes it difficult for them to work in a controlled environment. Okay? So if you're at work and you're struggling to follow your boss, or just follow the rules, or just follow timelines or deadlines, probably it's a sign that you should be an entrepreneur. You are independent. Okay? But also, there are people who like working in structured environments, who, when they need to now become entrepreneurs, they need to learn to be independent. Okay? You need to learn to work without a boss, to learn without anyone following up on you, to do things, to set goals and achieve them while managing yourself, not needing anyone else to make sure you did it. That's independence. It's something you can learn. Entrepreneurs are hardworking, so you need a great deal of energy to see a project that you started succeed. Okay? You need to be very hardworking. And again, there are many lazy people who have become hardworking so that they can become entrepreneurs. Okay? So those are some of the characteristics that make up an entrepreneur. Okay, which again, I will keep on reiterating. You can grow in these aspects. You can grow in them. You can develop them even though you were not born with them. You can develop them. Okay? So I just want to quickly move on to the stages of entrepreneurship, right? So as you begin to dream about starting your own business or solving a particular problem, which is what the journey of entrepreneurship needs. You need to find a solution to a problem, right? The first stage is just where you dream, okay? So at this stage, the dream is the culmination of the entrepreneur's life experiences and passions. So how do you arrive at a dream? How do you arrive at a business idea? You have experienced some things that then give you an idea and form your passions. Okay? And then you move on to the second stage, okay, where you become the architect and convert your dream into a blueprint, okay, or into a concept that you want to implement, okay, where it starts to make sense in the real world. It's no longer just a dream. You are making sense of it in the real world, a blueprint, okay, where you start to see certain things come together in terms of a blueprint, okay. And then you come to stage 3, where you become the builder, okay. So this is the stage where the dream can first become reality. So the first 2 stages are in your heart, third stage, you now have to start doing something. Okay, you're moving into something solid. You are now putting money. You are now starting to buy stock. You are now looking for an office to do what you are planning to do. Okay, you are looking for partners. That is now the building phase. Okay, that's now the building phase. And once you've started building, you then get into the large stage, which is the cultivation stage, right? At this stage, once a business is launched, your primary role is to guide the business through the various levels of growth. So your business needs to become stable, and then your business needs to scale, meaning it needs to grow. It needs to become, if you had one restaurant now, next week you are planning to have two locations, 5 locations, 10 locations. When you think about companies like KFC, Wimpy, they have so many outlets. They have grown their idea from just feeding a few people in one location. They are now feeding thousands and millions of people in many, many locations. Okay, that becomes the cultivation stage. All right. Now we have a few classes of entrepreneurs, and again, you need to find yourself in these classes so that you can honestly make the necessary adjustments, okay, to get yourself from where you are to where you want to be. So you've got an innovative entrepreneur who introduces new goods or methods of production, or who discovers new markets or recognizes or reorganizes the enterprise, right? So examples of first movers include innovative companies such as eBay and Coca-Cola. Okay, so eBay was the first company to take auction process online, kicking off operations in 1995. Okay, so when people bought things at an auction, eBay decided, no, actually, we can have auctions online. It doesn't have to be physical all the time. We can have auctions online. So eBay started that. Okay, Coca-Cola as well started bottling drinks. Okay, so those are innovative entrepreneurs. They change things. And then you have your imitative or adoptive entrepreneurs who don't innovate. So someone, once they saw eBay, now there's Shein. Okay, some of us are now buying our clothes on Shein. We're buying our clothes on Alibaba, on the internet. eBay is the one who started it. Other companies just imitated and adopted. Sometimes when someone has created the wheel, there's no need to reinvent the wheel. So such entrepreneurs don't innovate, they just copy technology or the technique of others. Okay, and then they get things done and they move. Okay. And then you've got these other types of entrepreneurs. You've got a prime mover. This entrepreneur sets in motion a powerful sequence of business, of development, expansion, and diversification of business. Okay, it's another type of entrepreneur. And then we've got managers. Okay, such an entrepreneur focuses on the efficient management of the business rather than on innovation or expansion. Right? The type of entrepreneur as well. This type of entrepreneur is content with maintaining the current state of the business and ensuring its smooth operation. Okay? So that's his job. And then you've got artists who are highly creative, right? Very conscious about business, right? So they come up with new ideas of music, of movies, books, all right? And then they turn that creativity into a business. And then you have what we call the visionary types, who are too focused on dreams with too little focus on reality. So sometimes you need to align yourself and know exactly who you are. in terms of these characteristics. When you know who you are, you can then understand which parts of yourself need more growth, which parts of yourself need more learning, okay, you need more development, and then you can become the entrepreneur that you want to be. Okay. And then we've got the last idea, which I would like to share with you today, is basically the importance of entrepreneurship. The importance of entrepreneurship, right? There are three main types of importance, which is your economic, your social, and your psychological. I will start with psychological. Okay, for you as an individual, how does entrepreneurship help you? Okay, it helps you to fulfill your creative urge. So if you're someone who is coming up with ideas, entrepreneurship can give you an outlet. It helps you in self-expression. Okay, it helps you to express the ideas that you have. All right, and it also supports independence. So psychologically, if you want to grow and develop and show that you are maturing, entrepreneurship can grant you the independence that you need, financial independence, okay, from the people whom you are dependent on. Okay, and then we have social importance, where entrepreneurship, through creation of jobs, can raise income and the standard of living of people, right? So families that were previously underprivileged, when someone becomes an entrepreneur, they lift up the standard of living for that family. Okay, and you sow seeds for small enterprise. Okay, and then you promote self-employment and help solve social problems. Okay, with your ideas. And then you've got economic importance of entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurship actually contributes to a nation's wealth, right? You create job opportunities for young people, sometimes in disadvantaged communities. When they are entrepreneurs, they create job opportunities for those young people. Okay. And entrepreneurship also encourages inventions, innovations, and technology development. Okay. And entrepreneurship also creates a competitive environment. So sometimes when a business does not have competition, their standard of their products go down. Okay, the standard of their products go down because they have no competition. All right, so thank you so much for attending this training. Every big enterprise starts with a small dream. Okay, starts with a small dream of you deciding that you want to pursue a specific idea, and then you begin to learn the things that it takes, the characteristics that it takes to make your dreams come true. So keep on dreaming, keep on growing, keep on building, and never stop learning, okay, until you become the best and a successful entrepreneur. Thank you so much for attending this training. My name is Simbarashe Gravel. I was your facilitator today for your entrepreneurship training. So I want to close off this session and encourage you that with all the business ideas that you have, you just need to start. Okay? You just need to launch yourself. Start. Start by learning something. Start by improving your knowledge about the industry that you want to work in. Okay? Start by understanding what your market needs. Start by understanding what your clientele need. Okay? And you can start even with no money, with no office space, with no stock. You can start. Talk to people. Tell them you want to supply them with that product. Tell them this is what you're dreaming of. And you never know what doors that God will open for you as you start, as God will bless the work of your hands. Thank you so much for attending, and enjoy the rest of your day or evening as we proceed. Thank you so much.